Hello dear student, due to the outbreak of COVID-19, we are at home. Due to this condition, my 10th standard students are suffering most from their study. In order to overcome this situation, an easy test app along with Sri Samartha Vidyalaya Amravati has brought a series of online lectures on various subjects of 10th standard. I am Sachin R. Deshmukh, working as a science teacher in Sri Samartha Vidyalaya Amravati. Today, I am taking an online lecture on Science and Technology Part 1. I will be teaching you a first chapter, that is gravitation. To understand the phenomena of gravitation, we have to understand some basic concept in physics. First one is force. You must have learned the concept of force in earlier classes. We generally write the force as mass into acceleration. Actually, what is force? This is nothing but the push or pull on the body of any mass which changes its state of motion, state of rest, or it changes its velocity. We are calling this physical quantity as a force. Force is a vector quantity. Now, suppose I have got this ball like this. If I want to apply some force on this body, then there will be some effect of force on this body. Suppose this body is in a state of rest, and if I am applying a force, then this state of rest will get changed into a state of motion. Suppose this body is in motion, suppose I am applying a force, then it can bring out to be in a state of rest. Again, suppose I want to change direction here and there, then also this force can bring the change in the direction of a body having mass m. Then there also a effect of force on the body. Suppose I have got this body, if I am applying some force on this body, then it is getting switched. That means I am changing the dimension of the body with the help of this physical quantity, that is the force. Again, suppose I want to just moving it like this, then I am changing the speed of the body with the help of force. It means that force brings a large effect on the body. It can change its state of rest, it can change its state of motion, its direction, and its dimension, its speed, its velocity. Now the next concept comes after this, that is the types of forces. What are the types of forces? There are number, we can just classify into them in number of types. But generally we are classifying the types of forces into four fundamental types. First one is a gravitational force. Suppose I am taking this ball and dropping it on the ground, then what will happen? This ball will fall on the ground. The force which is existing between these two bodies, that is the earth and this ball, is known as gravitational force. Second one is the magnetic force. I have got this magnet and this another body. Here we observe that the attractive or repulsive force due to the presence of the electrical charge carriers is known as magnetic force. This magnet is applying some force on this body. We are calling it as a magnetic force. Then there comes electromagnetic force. What is electromagnetic force? Electromagnetic force, the force which is present due to the presence of electric field as well as magnetic field, we are calling it as a electromagnetic force. For example, the light rays, where there is a presence of electric vector as well as magnetic vector. The last one comes a nuclear force. What is a nuclear force? Suppose we are considering an atom. Atom consists of electron, proton and neutron. Proton and neutron are present inside the nucleus. The force which is acting on proton and neutron inside the nucleus is known as nuclear force. These are the various types of force. Just I try to recall it. What we have learned? A definition of force. Second one, what effect of force is on the body. Or third one, we have learned the types of force. That is gravitational force, magnetic force, electromagnetic force, and a nuclear force. Now we will switch over towards our topic of gravitation. When we switch over towards our topic of gravitation, we have to understand how gravitation is discovered. We know that it was discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. Who discovered it? Sir Isaac Newton. Newton discovered the force of gravitation. How he has discovered? It is said that Newton was seated under a tree and he was reading book. Suddenly, what happens? At that the same time, apple falls on his notebook. But Newton does not eat the apple. पहा, या कथेची सुरुवात कुठून होते? न्यूटन हा झाडाच्या खाली बसला होता. कोणाच्या झाडाच्या खाली? ऍपलच्या झाडाच्या खाली बसलेला होता. त्याच्या नोटबुकवर एक काय पडलं? सफरचंद पडलं. विद्यार्थी मित्रांनो, आपण काय केलं असतं? आपण सहजपणे ते सफरचंद घेतलं असतं आणि खाऊन टाकलं असतं. माझं बरोबर आहे ना? हो, नक्कीच. पण न्यूटनने असं काहीच केलं नाही. त्यांनी त्याच्यावर विचार करायला सुरुवात केली की हे ऍपल खालीच का पडलं, हे वर का गेलं नाही किंवा हॉरिझॉन्टल डायरेक्शनने का गेलं नाही. याच्यावर त्याचा तर्क वितर्क सुरू झाला आणि याच्यातून ग्रॅव्हिटेशनची संकल्पना उदयास आली. नाउ वी विल जस्ट डिस्कस इट हियर. सपोज दिस इज द ट्री and there are some apples over here. Newton was seated under a tree. When apple falls, it directly falls in a vertically downward direction. Then he tried to think for it, why apple falls from this point in a vertical direction only, which is perpendicular to the ground. Again he thought that why this apple does not fly off in upward direction towards moon. Thirdly, he thought that why does not this apple move along a horizontal direction. Again he thought that why does not this apple falls by making an angle theta to the direction of vertical, which is falling on the ground. He found out the four possibilities and concluded that there should be some force inside the earth which is pulling this apple towards it, and he called it as a attractive force. Which force? Attractive force. And again he looked at the tree. The apples are located at different heights on the tree. Suppose here we are considering that the height of this apple is 4 meter and height of this apple is 7 meter. Here you can look that height does not matter. Both the apples falls in vertical direction on the ground and the direction of force is always toward the center of the earth. From he concluded that height does not matter. Therefore, he extended this idea of gravitation to the moon, and he thought that on every body which are existing in the universe, there must be a force of attraction, and this force of attraction is known as gravitational force. In this way, Newton discovered the gravitational force. After learning this idea of gravitational force which is existing between the two bodies having some mass, we are now looking forward to understand the concept of centripetal force, that is the circular motion and centripetal force. What we have to understand? Circular motion and centripetal force. Now what is the circular motion? Suppose any body is performing moving along a circular path, then we say that it is moving along it is performing the circular motion. For example, suppose I am just taking one of the particle like here on this disc and I am just rotating this disc. If when I am rotating this disc, it is performing, this particle which is present on the disc is performing a circular motion. And now look again, this particle is moving along a circular path, therefore we say that it is performing a which motion? A circular motion. To understand this concept, we have to perform the two activities. Now you must have understand what is circular motion. If the particle is moving along a circular path, then it performs a circular motion. Now who is providing force for moving the particle in a circular motion? Now we have to find out who is the particle or who is the agent which is applying force on this particle which is performing a circular motion. For this we have to perform one activity. It is a simple activity. What you have to do, you have to take a thread, you have to tie it one end to the stone or a ball. I have here taken a ball. Now you have to start the activity. How it is your activity? You have to just rotate this ball like this. When you are rotating this ball like this, you must have understand that it is performing or it is moving along a circular path. If it is moving along a circular path, then it means that it is performing a which motion? A circular motion. Now who is applying force on this body? It means that there are four queries in my mind or in your mind. First query is that who is applying a force on this body? Second query is that suppose I am cutting the rope here. What will happen to this ball? If I stop the force, what will happen to this ball? It means that this query has to be solved. Suppose I am leaving this ball, then what will happen to the motion of this ball? Now we can look its nature and the direction of force which is acting on this body in a simple diagram. Now look here, I am taking a simple diagram. This is the circular motion performed by this ball. This ball has performed the circular motion. I am keeping this ball. Now look at this. Suppose this is your ball. Here it is your ball. This is your string. It is performing which motion? In circular motion. Now who is applying a force on this body? कौन अप्लाई करता है फोर्स याच्यावर? The force is applied from the center. That is, I am applying a force on this body. My hand is applying a force on this body. Now look at this. Where is the direction of force? The direction of force is always towards the center. Here we are learning the two concepts, that body is performing a which motion? A circular motion. And where is the force is directed? Force is directed towards center. Where the force is directed? Force is directed towards the center. Now suppose I am just cutting the rope. What will happen? This particle or ball or stone will move perpendicular to the tangent to the circle. This is the tangent to the circle. It will move along this direction. Suppose I am cutting the rope. What we have learned here? We have learned here that this particle is performing a circular motion. The whole direction of this particle is along the center. Because of this force provided by the center, this particle is able to perform the circular motion. Therefore, we are calling this force as a centripetal force. Which force? Centripetal force. Therefore, we can define the centripetal force as when the body performs the circular motion, and if the force is directed towards the center, for performing the circular motion, if the force is directed toward the center, then such a type of force is known as centripetal force. Now, this idea of centripetal force, suppose I am cutting the rope and it will move along the tangent to the circle, can be understood with the help of this simple experiment which we have performed in earlier classes. Suppose this is the disc. If I am rotating this disc and I am just keeping this coin on this disc, then what will happen? It always move tangent to the circle. What will happen? It will always move tangent to the circle. Look at this. It means that when you are performing such a type of experiment in which you are rotating the circular disc and putting a coin on this disc, then it will move along the tangent to the circle. Here also the same thing happens. Now we have to apply this concept of centripetal force to the earth moon system and earth sun system. You have to apply this concept of centripetal force first to earth moon system and second to earth sun system. Now look at here. Suppose this is the earth and this is the moon. We know that moon is revolving around the earth. Moon is revolving around the earth. Why it is revolving around the earth? Because it is performing a which motion? Circular motion. And we know that there exists a force of attraction between the earth and the moon. And this force for moving in a circular motion is provided by the earth. We are calling this force as gravitational force or a centripetal force. Because of this centripetal force, this moon is able to move along the earth in a circular motion. Now secondly, all the planets are moving along the sun. Suppose I am taking this as a sun and this as a earth. Now we know that all the planets are moving or revolving around the earth. Why these are revolving around the earth? Because of which force? A gravitational force, because sun has got a large gravitational force, because of which it provides a centripetal force, and because of which all the planets are revolving around the sun. After understanding this idea, we have to learn the planetary motion. What we have to learn? A planetary motion. This planetary motion was first learned by numbers of scientists in the world. Among them are two, that is the Tycho Brahe and Copernicus and Johannes Kepler. Tycho Brahe was one of the well-known astronomers. After his death, his total work was studied by Johannes Kepler, and Johannes Kepler put his three laws of planetary motion. To understand his three laws of planetary motion, we have to understand the concept of ellipse. Now look on the blackboard. I am drawing an ellipse. How the ellipse is? Suppose we know that this is a circle. If I am just pressurizing this part of a circle, then it will get converted into a oval shape. This oval shape is known as a ellipse. Now ellipse has got two axes. Ellipse has got how many axes? Two axes. This short axis is known as a minor axis and the longer axis is known as major axis. Now this is the center point of the ellipse. I am just denoting it by a letter O. Now the distance, suppose this is the A point, this is the which point? B point. Now this distance is half of the major axis, therefore we are calling it as this half distance is known as semi-major axis, and this half distance is known as semi-minor axis. This half distance is known as semi-major axis, and this half distance is known as semi-minor axis. Now I am just taking this scale. With the help of this scale, I am taking a equal point, a 2 point at equal distance from the center. These 2 points at equal distance from the center are known as focus. F1, focus, F2. They are also termed as foci. Now look at here. I am taking 3 points, any 3 points on this elliptical path or ellipse. Suppose I am considering a first point. I am taking here C, here I am taking D, here I am taking E. Now what I am doing? I am joining this point. What I am doing? I am joining this point. C of 1, C of 2. After this, again I am joining this point D of 1 and D of 2. Again I am joining this point E of 1 to E of 2. Now we have got some mathematical equation here. What is this mathematical equation? This mathematical equation tells us that the C of 1, what? C of 1 plus second one C of 2 will be equal to D of 1 plus D of 2, which is equal to E of 1 plus, this is E of 2. What is this? This is E of 2. It means that how many points you want to take on this ellipse, they will be at a equal distance from these 2 points, that is the focus F1 and focus F2. I think that you must have understand the concept of ellipse. Now we are looking forward to understand the Kepler's laws of planetary motion. To understand the Kepler laws of planetary motion, I am drawing here one of the ellipse. That is the ellipse. Now look at here. This is the ellipse. We know that ellipse has got how many focus point? 2 focus point. F1. This is F2. Now suppose Sun is located here. I am denoting it by the letter S. Here there exists a planet. I am denoting it by the letter P. I think you are understanding. काय घेतलं मी विद्यार्थी मित्रांनो? मी इथे घेतलेला आहे एलिप्स. काय घेतलं? एलिप्स. एलिप्सला किती फोकस असतात? There are 2 focuses in ellipse. At one of the focus कोण असतो? Sun असतो. It may be either present here or there. Here I have considered one focus where Sun is present. I have denoted it by the letter S. याच्या भोवती कोण रिव्हॉल्व करून राहिलं? Planet. The planet is moving along this path. From this simple observation, Kepler has realized his first law of orbit. According to his law, orbit of a planet is an ellipse with the Sun at one of the focus. What he said? The orbit कोणाचं? Planetचं. कोणाचं orbit आहे? Planetचं. Orbit of a planet is a ellipse because this has got a shape of ellipse. Therefore, orbit of a planet is an ellipse with the Sun at one of the focus. This is known as the Kepler's first law of planetary motion. Now we will look forward to understand the second law of planetary motion. To understand this, you have to join. This is your Sun. You have to join the lines from Sun to planet. I am just taking here at point A, here at point B, here at point C, here at point D, here at point E, here at point F. I am joining all these lines. After joining these lines, काय करायचं आहे तुम्हाला? इथे काय आहे तुमचा Sun, इथे काय आहे तुमचा planet. Planet will move or revolve along this elliptical path. Suppose planet is present at point A. It has covered this much of path AB in time t. Again, planet will be here. It has covered the path CD in time t. Again, planet will be here. It has covered a path EF in time t. म्हणजे टी टाइम मध्ये तुमच्या प्लॅनेटने कोणता पाथ कव्हर केला? AB. नंतर कोणता पाथ कव्हर केला? CD. नंतर कोणता पाथ कव्हर केला? EF. Now you have to calculate the areas of these sectors. What you have to do? you have to calculate the areas of this sector. You will find out that the areas of this sector is suppose 25 kilometer square. Then the area of this sector will be 25 kilometer square. Area of this sector will be 25 kilometer per square. Sorry, 25 kilometer square. From this, Kepler has derived his second law. According to his law, a line joining from planet to the sun sweeps equal area in equal interval of time. What is the meaning of sweeping? Suppose this is the radius vector, then it will get up to here. It means this is known as sweeping. This is known as sweeping. Here, this is known as sweeping. It means that planet is sweeping equal area in equal interval of time, and we are calling it as a Kepler's second law of planetary motion. Now we have to understand the third law. To understand the Kepler's third law, we have to understand the two terms. That is, the first term is T and second term is R. What is T? Suppose the planet is present at this point A and it is revolving around the sun and reaches up to point A. Then we call is a total time period of revolution of a planet, and we are denoting it by the letter T. Now what is R? It is the mean distance of a planet from the sun. How we are calculating the mean distance of planet from the sun? Suppose we are considering a planet Earth. Sometimes our planet Earth will be nearer to the sun, and sometimes it will be the farther away from the sun. When we are taking the average of these two values, this average of the two values is known as the mean distance of the planet from the sun. For the sun, it comes out to be 150 million kilometers. Now, there is some relation between this T and R. What is this relation? The T square, that is the square of the time period of revolution of a planet around the sun, is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance of the planet from the sun. याचा अर्थ काय होतो? हा जो प्लॅनेट आहे हा काय करतो? या इलिप्टिकल पाथच्या भोवती फिरतो. याला म्हणतो आपण टाइम पिरियड टी. काय म्हणतो याला? टाइम पिरियड टी. आर म्हणजे काय होते? R is the mean distance of the planet from the sun. आता हा जर आपण t स्क्वेअर घेतला, इट इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू द r क्यूब. आता मला इथे प्रोपोर्शनलिटी साइन नको आहे, मग मी काय करेल? t स्क्वेअर will be equal to k times r square, and therefore k will be equal to t square upon r cube. This is known as Kepler's third law of planetary motion. I think you must have understand the concept. I want to summarize this. How we have started the chapter? We have started the chapter gravitation with the basic concept of force. Then we have learned the effect of force on the body. Then we have learned the types of force on the body. After that, we have switched over to the discovery of the gravitational force by Newton. In that, how the Newton has analyzed his simple result of falling apple from the apple tree. He discovered the phenomena of gravitation. After that, we have switched over to the concept of circular motion and centripetal force. When the body is moving along a circular motion, we understand that who is applying a force on that body? The central body is applying a force on the body which is performing a circular motion, and force is directed toward the center. Therefore, this force is known as centripetal force. Now, after that, we have applied this idea of centripetal force to the Earth-Moon system and Earth-Sun system. After this, we have reached the various laws designed by Kepler for planetary motion. In these laws, we have learned first of all a ellipse. Ellipse has got a semi-major axis and semi-minor axis, and distance of all the points on this ellipse are always at an equal distance from these 2 points f1 and f2. You have to keep in mind that ellipse has got two focus, f1 and f2. Then we try to analyze the first law of planetary motion. Here we observe that the planet is revolving around the sun in an elliptical orbit. From this, Kepler has derived his first law. The orbit of a planet is an ellipse with the sun at one of the focus. After this, he just find out that areas are equal. Then he again designed the second law. When a line joining from the planet to the sun shifts equal area in equal interval of times. Thirdly, he relates the concept of T, that is the time period of revolution of planet around the sun, toward the mean distance of a planet toward the sun. T square is directly proportional to r cube, and it can be written as k is equal to T square upon r cube. Up to here, Kepler was able to give all this law, but he was not able to tell how this law can be derived or carry out. For this further reading, we will meet in the next period.